teaching practice 1, comparative and superlative. Miss Işık and Miss İlkim are going to be playing the part of the students in this evening class. So Işık and İlkim, in this evening class, we are going to try to develop your grammar skills and learn how to use comparatives and superlatives. Let's give it a start. What do you see in this image, girls?
3 persons.
Yes, there are 3 persons. Exactly. What else?
Peter is big.
Yes, there are differences. Peter is big, Joe is small, Dave is very small. So in this, what else? Fat, thin, tall, and short. There are some differences, right? In this type of situations, we need to make comparisons between 2 people or among 3 people or more people, but it has got to be of the same type. So comparison means showing differences between 2 or more things of the same types. That's why we use comparatives, and we'll see how we build comparatives and superlatives in this evening class. Okay, well, get warmed up a little bit in introduction section. In pre-teach vocabulary, we'll use some vocabulary and focus on the grammar topic, our grammar topic on superlative and comparatives. We'll make practical exercises, reading exercises, and writing exercises to make it better. Okay, now let's make a comparison, because to make a comparison, we need to have 2 things of the same type, right? Okay, right here we've got 2 people, okay? Joe and Dave. Now we'll make comparison between Joe and Dave. Okay, to make a comparison, we use adjectives, okay? And turn it to a comparative form. Okay, we'll use this time, what do we use? Big. Between these Joe and Dave. What is the comparative form of big? Do you know that?
Bigger.
Bigger. Yes. Bigger. Okay? Let's make an example. This is the question. Who is bigger than the other between Joe and Dave? Who is bigger?
Than Dave.
Who?
Joe is bigger than Dave.
Exactly. Joe is bigger. Joe is bigger than Dave. Do you see? Big becomes bigger and we add then to make a comparison. Okay, what about tall? What is the comparative form?
Taller.
Taller. Exactly. Here's the example. Who is taller than the other between Joe and Dave?
Joe is taller than Dave.
Perfect. Joe is taller than Dave. Okay, one last time. Fat. What is the form of comparative? Fatter. Okay, fatter. And the question, okay, give me the question. Who's going to give me the question with the fat?
Who is fatter than the other?
Perfect. Who is fatter than the other between Joe and Dave? And the answer is?
Joe is fatter than
Yes,
Dave.
Joe is fatter than Dave. Okay, let's make some practice. We're going to make comparisons between Peter and Joe and use the adjective big. Can you fill in the blanks with the question? Okay, you ask the question, fill in the blanks, and you answer it. Give it a start.
Who is bigger than the other?
Perfect. Who is bigger than the other?
Peter is bigger than Joe.
Perfect. We already know how we can build comparative. Peter is bigger than Joe. Okay, this time, Tim, you go ahead with the question, fill in the blanks, and you answer question.
Who is taller than the others?
Who is taller than the other?
Peter is taller than Joe.
Okay, Peter is taller than Joe. One last time, and this time we will use facts. Ushin, give me the start with the question.
Who is the fatter than the other?
Who is fatter than the other?
Peter is fatter than Joe.
Okay, Peter is fatter than Joe. Perfect. Okay, what is the difference now? The image has turned to 3 people from 2 people. So in 2 people we use comparative form. If there are 3 or more people, we use, you know what we use? We use superlative form. Superlative form. Okay. We need adjective. We'll turn it to comparative form and turn it to superlative form. Okay. Big. What is the comparative form?
Bigger.
Bigger. What is the superlative form?
Biggest.
Okay. Actually, the biggest. Okay? Yes, you're right. Biggest. Let's make an example. Who is the biggest of all? Who is the biggest of all? Peter is, yes, Peter is the biggest of all means of 3 people. Okay? Okay. What about tall? Comparative form is?
Taller.
Taller. Superlative form is?
Tall.
Again?
The tallest.
The tallest. Okay, thank you. So let's make an example. Who is the tallest person of all? And the answer is?
Peter is the tallest person of all.
Perfect. Peter is the tallest person of all. What about fat? Comparative form?
Peter.
Peter. Fat? The comparative form of the fat?
Peter.
Fatter. And the superlative?
Fattest.
The fattest, I'm sorry. Okay, ask the question. With fat.
Who is the fattest person of all?
Who is the fattest person of all 3?
Peter is fattest person of all.
Perfect. We already know all this stuff. Okay, now, in this vocabulary sections, we have different types of comparisons, okay? If our adjective is 1 syllable, what does that mean, 1 syllable? Big. How many syllables are there in big? The word big?
1.
1. In beautiful, how many syllables in beautiful?
3 or
Okay, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? 4 syllables. Okay, if the adjective is 1 syllable, the rule is simple. We add ER at the end. Big becomes bigger in comparative, the biggest in superlative. Again, with 1 syllable adjective, tall becomes
taller.
taller and becomes in superlative
Tallest.
the tallest. Okay, now it is different in 3 or more syllables. Okay? Here comes the adjective. How many syllables? Expensive. Expensive. 3 syllable adjective. Here, what is the comparative form of this 3 syllable adjective?
More expensive.
Perfect. More expensive. Okay? What about the superlative form of 3 syllable adjective?
Most expensive.
Okay, exactly. The most expensive. What about beautiful?
More beautiful.
More beautiful.
Most beautiful.
Most beautiful. Okay. This is the most difficult part, girls, of this grammar topic. Irregular adjectives. Okay, it's not one syllable, it's not three syllable, it's irregular. Okay? Good becomes gooder? No. Good becomes better. That's why it's irregular. Okay? The rule does not apply in irregular adjective. Good becomes better in comparative and in superlative form?
Best.
Yes. You know that. Best. Okay, what about the bad? Adjective bad. In comparative form? Becomes worse. In superlative form? Worse. The worst. Okay. Far becomes farther or further, and becomes the farthest or the furthest. Little, what about little? Do you know that? Little becomes less in comparative form and the least in superlative form. Much many, you should know much many becomes more and becomes the most in superlative form. Okay, let's make a class exercise. Let's write down the birds of us. Okay. Ishik, how old are you?
I'm 11 years. 11 years.
You? Okay. Ishik is 10 years old, right? And Ilkin is 11 years old. And me? Okay, I gotta say my age, 45. Okay. Age, right? We're gonna make a comparison about age now. Okay? Okay, Ishik. Would you come here a little bit right here? Okay, this way. Okay. Ask questions between Ishik and me about our age. Who is older? Ask the question.
Who is older
Than the other.
the other?
Perfect. And answer the question.
Older.
Teacher, Serdar teacher is?
Older than the
Perfect.
teacher.
Okay. So, that is comparisons, okay? That is comparisons. In superlative form,
Who
Can you
is
ask-
oldest?
perfect. Who is oldest? Finish the sentence.
Oldest, often.
Oldest person of the class. Okay. Yes. Answer the question.
Who is oldest than?
Who is the oldest person in class? And answer the question.
Serdar teacher is older.
Yes. Serdar teacher is the oldest teacher in class. Okay, that's pretty much good enough not to go on. There's another example this time. Okay? What do you see?
3 cars.
3 cars. But what about the differences? What do you see about the differences among these 3 cars? Big, small. Example, car C is bigger than car B. Car B is bigger than car A. But as much as I can see, car C is the biggest car of all 3. Okay. The adjective, okay, let's use big this time. How many syllables in big?
1.
1 syllable. Comparative form is bigger, and the superlative form is the biggest. Okay, which one, the question, which one is the biggest car of all?
C.
Okay, make a long sentence.
The C car
Car C is?
biggest car of all.
Yes, car C is the biggest car of all. Perfect. Okay, there is another measure is coming. Can you see it? Another measure. What measure is it this time? Price. Okay? Now adjective, this time we're going to use how many syllables? In expensive? 3. 2 or more syllables. What do we do in 2 or more syllables in comparative?
More.
We put more. More than. In superlative form, what do we do?
Most.
The most adjective of all. Okay. Ask the question, please. Who's going to ask the question? By using expensive? We're making a superlative. Which one is the most expensive car of all 3? And the answer is?
The car C is
Perfect. Well, because it's $300. Car C is the most expensive car of all. Okay, that's enough. Another example, but this time we're going to use irregular. Bad, remember? Bad, good, they're irregular. Good, better, the best, right? Bad, worse, the worst. Okay. Let me ask the question. We see 3 people here and English language skills. We see their speaking, writing, and grammar skills. Okay? They show their grades in these English skills. Okay, I'm asking the question. Who is the best in speaking?
Simon is the best.
Simon, yes, Simon is the best in speaking. Who is the best in grammar?
Max is the best.
Yes, Max. Or let me ask the question like this. Who is the worst in writing? That worst.
Simon.
Let me see. Simon is the worst. Okay, perfect. One last example. Tom, Sally, Ellen. Okay, there are age, height, weight, intelligent, happy, and good. Okay, ask the question of superlative with the age. Ask the oldest.
Who is the oldest?
Person.
All.
Of all. Who is the person? Who is the oldest person of all?
Tom is oldest. Person of all.
Okay, Tom is the oldest person of all. What about the height? Ask the tallest.
Who is the
Tallest person of all. And the answer is?
Sally is tallest person all of.
Okay. Intelligent? Who is the most intelligent person of all? Sally is the most intelligent. Okay. Happy and good. Okay, we got a reading exercise, girls. Hi, I'm Andy. I'm 10 years old. Patrick is my friend. He's 9 years old. He's very active. He loves football, and he's a great swimmer. Josh is 12 years old, and he's a basketball player in our school team, but he's not very active. He can't swim. Susie is my friend too. She's 11 years old, and she plays basketball very well. She's the captain in the girls' team. She's active and a good swimmer. She never eats fast food. Angelica is 8 years old. She swims and runs a lot. She's the best runner and the most active one of us. Okay, this passage is full of comparatives and superlatives. And there are 2, 4, 5 students or persons, people, and their names Patrick, Josh, Andy, Susie, and Angelica. Here comes the questions. Who is the youngest? Can you find out?
Patrick is the youngest.
Andy 10, Patrick 9, Josh 12, Susie 11, Angelica 8. Who is the youngest?
Angelica.
Yes, Angelica is the youngest. Here comes the second question. Who's the oldest? Angelica is 8 years old.
Joe is.
Josh
Josh
is 12 years old, so Josh is
Oldest.
perfect, is the oldest student or person of all. Here comes the third question. Who is taller than Andy? Where is Andy? Who is taller than Andy?
Susie.
Susie
Is taller than.
is taller than Andy. Who else?
Josh.
Josh is taller than Andy. Who else?
Angelica is taller than Andy.
Yes, Angelica is taller than Andy. Who is shorter than Josh? Where is Josh? Who is shorter than Josh?
Patrick is shorter than the Josh.
Okay, Patrick is.
Andy is shorter than
Okay.
Josh.
Who is the worst swimmer? Who is the worst swimmer?
Patrick is
Josh.
the worst.
Let's see.
George is
Josh. Yes, because Josh can't swim, so Josh is the worst swimmer. Next question. Who is the best runner?
Angelica is the best runner.
Why? Because it says here, Angelica is the best runner. Who is the least active? Okay, let's see. Who is the least active?
George.
Okay, look. Josh is not very active, but the others are somehow active, so Josh is not very active. Who is the most active?
Angelica is most active.
Why? Because it says here the most active, so Angelica is the most active. Okay. What we learned today is one syllable, three syllables, and irregular adjectives. Here, you see, there's an exercise. You see 9 adjectives here. Okay, can you use one of these adjectives and make comparisons to superlative in class? Example, the first example. I am the fattest person in this class. Can you give another example? Using these 9, one of these 9 adjectives in class?
Yes.
Yes, go ahead, shoot it.
I am youngest
Person
person
of
in the class.
in the class. Okay. Okay, this is a standby activity, and for homework, you can write a short passage about your family, okay? And in this passage, I would like you to describe each member of your family, and from the perspective of appearance and personality, okay? Try to describe them with the differences of appearance and personality, so that in next class we can see and make some comparisons, make some practice, more practice. Any questions? No questions? Okay. Thank you for listening.